There was something special in the air last night in South Philly. Huge Sixers Celtics game that I promised I wouldn't overreact to one way or another. But it's very hard not to overreact to what we saw from our Philadelphia 76ers last night against those hated Boston Celtics. We're going to talk about that. Eagles injury news, Phillies maybe, Union maybe, you never know. Trending in the AM where your opinions actually matter. Taking your opinions live in 30 seconds.
Fourth and goal.
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network, the only morning show in Philadelphia, the only sports show in Philadelphia where your opinions actually matter. Please do me that favor, hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. It costs you nothing to do it. It helps out greatly. So smash those buttons, do that for me. And if you'd like, turn on those notifications as well. That way you do not miss a second when we go live. I am your host, Phil Stiefel. You can find me on all social media platforms at Beard and Knowledge. Always greatly appreciate a follow there. Zach saying he's first. I didn't know it was a competition on who made the first comment. And honestly, technically, under my personal YouTube account, I made the first comment. Just so you nosy, I was first, but it's okay. It's all right. I got you. Good morning, Will Smith. How you doing? Let's talk Sixers. I am pumped. K1 in the house right from the get go. My man, Matt Chatter, is in the house. The Sixers will win two more against the Celtics. That P away four in a row. I don't know what that is. What is up, Troy? Good morning to you. How about them Sixers? You know, it's it's really hard with this Sixers team. Like I said it yesterday. I said it to our guest Justin Crosby, who was down there at the Wells Fargo Center covering for Philadelphia Sports Network. Um, you know, that I wouldn't overreact one way or another to the Sixers game. But it is really, really, really hard not to get excited if you watch that basketball game last night. Boston is supposed to be the measuring stick in the Eastern Conference, and the Sixers went toe to toe to them. And I put out a tweet late in the game or right after the game last night. That is a game the Sixers lose last night if Doc Rivers is still the head coach of this team. That is a game the Sixers lose if James Harden, the system, is still the point guard of this basketball team. There is something special in the air last night. Something special. How's a Phil Collins song go? Um, there's something special going on there. And I'm not going to overreact, but I think Boston and the rest of the NBA last night was put on notice that this isn't your average Sixers team anymore. There is something different within 7 games, and even not having your full team for those 7 games. There is a different personality and a different culture already instilled. Will there be bumps and bruises along the way? Absolutely. The Sixers team is not going to be perfect all year. We know that. It's still not a perfect team, but they're a different team, and they're a much, 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 much more enjoyable team early on. Good morning, Duck. How you doing? Boston sucks. Kyle, we beat Boston and Dallas in the matter of what, 4 days, 5 days, and a New England and knocked the New England MLS team out of the playoffs. So we beat out Boston twice and Dallas in this week. It's great. It's a great week. People hate Philly right now for sure. Phil hates being second man. I'm always first. If you're not first, you're last, my man. I don't know what that is. I can't. Your comment. I don't even know how to read this. 76ers will win two more against the Celtics. That P away 4 in a row. I don't even know what that means. The playoffs, Phil. The playoffs. The playoffs in basketball are like 6 years away. So I'm not even worried about that yet. But yes, Troy, I think you agree that I'm talking facts here about the Sixers. Maxey was incredible last night from the second quarter on. Now, it's something I've heard Nick Nurse already talk about a few times, Troy. It is something that I want to see more out of Tyrese Maxey. He just takes too long to get going in games. I need to see more Tyrese Maxey getting going early in games because it seems like he's still deferring a little bit at first to Joel, to Tobias, to everybody else early in the first half or first quarter and a half of games. Then he comes off the bench in the second quarter, and all of a sudden a light switch. We could be even better if he could get that aggressiveness going right from the get go. But Tyrese Maxey is having a fantastic start to the season. Um, and it's special to see. You know, everybody talked nonstop about what Nick Nurse would do for our young guys that didn't have major roles or any roles at all last year or in the years past under Doc Rivers. Well, we're seeing something out of some of those. Springer when he's used. Korkmaz wasn't good last night. Was good the few weeks before. You know, we're seeing stuff out of certain guys, but we're seeing massive improvements from our stars under Nick Nurse. Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, who's been lights out so far this year. Tyrese Maxey. The growth the stars are taking. The growth our stars are taking with no distractions on this team in such a small dose is intense. I'm so glad we have a new coach now that knows how to use his players in the right situations. Not afraid to give Furkan Korkmaz extra minutes for a few games because he was the hot hand. And then following it up, not afraid to, when he realized last night that Furkan's not the hot hand, Furkan saw the bench the rest of the game. There is something special about a coach that's not afraid. Something special about a coach that has started building a culture where it's team. It's almost very comparable. It's a little early to overreact, but it's also very comparable in a small sample size to what the Eagles have, where it's team over individual. And that's what I am seeing very early on from the Sixers team. It's everybody. It's part of it. You don't see anybody complaining about their minutes. You don't hear anybody arguing. Last year, I used to always complain Furkan Korkmaz always looked checked out of games. He'd sit at the back of the bench, never get up in timeouts, never jump up and down. He's so shoulders hanging. He got benched last night. And you know what he was doing? He was sitting next to the coaches, staying involved in the game. And I think that's very important. Korkmaz is hot. Well, yeah, of course. Everybody knows that, right? Hard Rock Orlando is lit. Okay. I doubt it, but okay. Huge game on Monday Night Football, huge playoff implications. This week, I don't even know who plays Monday night. I don't even know who plays period this week. Eric, good. Maxie, good morning. Yes, I got you. It's a good Maxie morning. And everybody's going to talk about Tyrese Maxey last night. But I think there's so many people that excelled last night against the Celtics. I mean, obviously, Maxey had the 25 points, the 5 assists. He had 9 rebounds. Holy crap. 2 blocks and a steal last night. Only the 1 turnover. That's big. Joel still had 6 turnovers. He needs to clean that up. It wasn't Joel's cleanest game last night, but he was still very effective. He had Paul Reed getting a couple buckets. Nicholas Batum, man. Yeah, he wasn't even the first name I thought. When I saw this trade, I was thinking Morris and Rocco coming back to Philly, the youth of KJ Martin. But Nicholas Batum, man, in his 2 games since he started playing, he has solidified himself as a major part of this rotation already with like 2 practices put in. Pat Beverly had a great game last night. I don't think anybody will talk about how good Tobias Harris was last night. Salute to Phil and the mighty Core 12. That is right. Core 12 in the house. I mean, tonight, Thursday Night Football. Oh, yeah. Isn't Thursday Night Football tonight like the Bears versus the Panthers? Yeah, definitely not watching that game. Not a chance. Pour one out for Nakobe. Yeah, I mean, that's on the agenda today. Nakobe Dean probably going on IR, maybe done for the year. Liz Frank injuries are normally like that. As soon as I shared that news out, everyone's like, oh, he's a bust. He's a bum. Cut him, blah, blah, blah. I mean, he's still a good kid, and he's young. But, man, can't catch an injury break whatsoever, Nakobe Dean. And we are going to get in that, what they should do there later in the show for sure. I don't even know what a Liz Frank injury is exactly, but I do know it's not good. But Tobias Harris last night for the Sixers, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Only took a dozen shots. So it wasn't his best shooting night. But something that I want to tell you guys. the defense that he's been playing. And I know Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown had a couple buckets late in the game and it got close. But you do realize we held two elite scorers in the NBA to a combined 10 of 27 shooting for 27 points. Tobias Harris gave up 2 points when guarding Jason Tatum, 18.3 possessions. I don't know how they figure that out. He had 17.3 possessions guarding Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown did not score a single point on Tobias. So Tobias Harris guarded those two guys, two elite all-star. Did they just give Jalen Brown like $300 million? And he was held pointless when Tobias Harris, this terrible defender, was guarding him. Tobias Harris last night was the MVP of that game. And it will go so under the radar because people aren't going to look at those defensive numbers. People aren't going to look at Boston's box score and see what he did guarding two elite scorers. Joel needs to shed that James Simmons itis, aka wetting the bed when the game is on the line. I don't think he wet the bed when the game was on the line last night. They were cutting it close. Sixers called a timeout. It came out of timeout. There was like 30 seconds left, and Joel hit a fadeaway jump shot to push the lead back up to 5 or 6, whatever it was. But I wouldn't say Joel faded away yesterday. He just didn't have. Look, Boston. Look, I'm not taking. What's so special about last night's win is the simple fact that Boston's a good team. It's a great team, the best team we faced, all year, probably better than Milwaukee is. So, I didn't expect it to be a blowout. I didn't even expect the win for sure. But we hung with them, and you had to know at some point we weren't going to win by double digits, and you knew they were going to make a run. They made their run, and we were able to, hold on to the lead, which is something special. I came up with this clever saying, you can't help the club sitting in the tub. You didn't come up with that. I didn't come up with that. But Ed Kratz said it for the first time on the show. That's clever. You should patent that one. That's been used far too many times. Is Maxey second best on team? Maxey is the second best player on the Sixers, but he could be the best player. But he's just so young. He's got so long to go here. And Bean ain't ever used to be scared of the big moments. Maxey is a saving grace. Embiid's not scared of the big moments. It's just that he's got a team now that he has confidence in, that when he gets double, triple teamed in those big moments, he knows that there's going to be somebody there to help him out. This whole team as a whole has more confidence in each other right now. Flyers are wetting the bed lately. Looks like yellow snow. Dude, the Flyers the other night lost to an 0-10 hockey team, the San Jose Sharks. 0-10 team gets their first win against the Flyers. Yes, on the road, whatever, but damn. That's a rough one. I got to get to work. Come on, Troy. You can be 15 more minutes late. Come on. You can listen in the car ride to work. You could do that as well. But have a great day, Troy. It's a good day to be a Philadelphia sports fan. Coming off a Cowboys win, beating the Boston Celtics. You can't be disappointed today if you're a Philadelphia sports fan, especially after last night's game. 07 Troy. I don't even know what 07 Troy means. But anyway, there's just something special about this Sixers team. And I don't think anybody expected to see this quick of a turnaround under Nick Nurse. And I think that's something pretty special there as well. Flyers always look good in October. November comes, so does reality. That's a fair point on the Flyers. Yeah, multiple Flyers comments in the first 20 minutes of the show today. That is extremely rare. We'll just say that. I mean, next thing you know, somebody's going to comment on the Union, dude. But yeah, I mean, the Flyers, come on, let's be honest with the Flyers. We didn't expect much from the Flyers. Their hot early start to the season was not something we expected. They're going to come down to earth, obviously. As long as they keep playing hard and fighting hard, the future is bright. It is sad, a sad but true thing. 07 equals salute. Okay, gotcha. I learn something new every day, chatter from you. Eagles beat the Cowboys. Sixers beat the Celtics. Union moved to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Been a brilliant week to be a Philly fan. I mean, yeah. If anyone's down in the dumps today, you got no heart. You got no soul. Check the pulse. It's a great morning, Zach. It's a great morning. Being able to, yeah, maybe some stressful moments over the last week in Philly sports, but but it's still an exciting time for Philadelphia. It's funny. After so many disappointments, the Phillies in the World Series last year, the Union in the MLS Championship, the Eagles in the Super Bowl, the Sixers in the second round again last year. We have every reason to be disappointed in Philly fans, but we really need to be excited about this run we are on as a team as a whole. Because all that disappointment, the Phillies are still right there. They made a deep run again this year. They're going to again next year. The Eagles are fast tracking their way right back to the Super Bowl. The Sixers are rebounding after constant disappointment and going to put out a very good product that's going to contend again. We have a time where 4 of the 5 sports teams are actually regular year in, year out competitor in their respective sports. And that does not happen very often in any sports city, let alone our city, that all 4 of the 5 major teams are competitive. And it's special. And even for TMC, I'll throw in the Philadelphia Stars. They're a competitive football team as well. Maxey is like D Wade when Shaq came to Miami year one, or Kobe when he started finding who he was in the pace. Embiid is still the centerpiece, but Maxey is definitely the number 2 guy. Yeah, I can see the little Maxey to the young Kobe to Shaq comparison there. I could see it. I could see it. And tomorrow's the Marine Corps' birthday. That's right. Salute to the Marine Corps. I will. Do you want me to have a breakfast beer with you tomorrow on this show, Kyle? I will. I will bring a beer to the show. I don't actually know if I have any beer in my fridge, but an 8 a.m. might be too early for a whiskey or scotch or anything like that. But I will salute those Marine Corps tomorrow with you for sure. Um, Great comparison, Eric. I think it's I really dig the early Kobe. Now we're not saying Maxey and Embiid are Shaq and Kobe, but we're comparing the rise of young Kobe in that situation. Sounds like addition by subtraction. And yes, and if you all saw, the LA Clippers are winless with James Harden playing now. Small sample size, but he is the system, and that system is not working. And he looks lost out there. And it's not like he's playing 20 minutes a game. He had to ramp up, and he's instantly playing 37 minutes a game. So whatever. There was a play last night, and I shared it on Twitter, of Harden throwing the ball 10 yards deep into the stands on a cross court pass, making fun of it and all. But in that video that I shared, you see a 3 different Clippers players on that bad pass from James Harden, which it was an atrocious pass. All their shoulders were sulking already. It's like he's already worn his welcome out in LA there, and it's been 2 games. 2 games. See, I always find a way to help you out there, Matt Chatter, and excite you. Throw a USFL star, thing in there, and the Philadelphia Soul are coming back. If you like other leagues, the Arena League is coming back, Matt Chatter. I saw a post. The Philadelphia Soul are coming back next year. He's playing with confidence in his role and his work ethic. And the special this about Embiid is ego maturity, where most former MVPs are frauds, think they're the system. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. If Phil has a breakfast scotch, we will finally see the 200 for a $200 super chat. Sure. Yeah, maybe. But no, Fridays, I don't think I could drink on a Friday at 8 a.m. That's dangerous, man. I don't know. Let me add the 500 early. Yeah, exactly. Because man, Chatter thinks I already made $500 today. I wish. Um, for people that have hard time getting the games, YouTube has good highlights, films of the NBA. You can get highlights anywhere. I'd rather watch the whole game though. I do, and I watched that entire game last night of the Sixers, from opening tip right through the end, and it was great. It was great to watch. It really was. Um, who believes Bayard Robbie will get the middle situated? Oh, we're right back to the Eagles. Um, It's interesting, and I got some interesting questions. I've got my man Shane Half from Bleeding Green Nation. He'll come on for a little bit tomorrow, and I'm going to give him some ideas to dig into because he's really great with stats and analytics and stuff like that. Um, I, Bayard, I, we got super hyped when we traded for Kevin Byard, but we also had to realize that he wasn't who he was all pro wise back in the day. But he was better than what we were getting from Justin Evans and Sidney Brown back there. So, he- he'll get more adjusted to our system and our schemes, but I wouldn't expect him to become an all pro guy here. And Robbie, we brought in to fill that slot spot. And then he instantly got hurt. So we've been moving pieces around. Will they get it situated? Maybe. But how much will they get it situated? Because it's not like Byard and Robbie are all pro level players anymore. So it's a tough line to grasp here. How much they do? Will Robbie, when he comes back after the bye, help us? Absolutely. But will he become this lockdown Pro Bowl slot corner? Probably not. And that's the thing. I think we have to put realistic expectations on those two guys. I actually think you made 700. I haven't made a penny today, just so you know. Um, they will more or less. You just need to patch up long enough to beat the Chiefs. Well, the Chiefs game is going to be interesting. It really is. I'll have a breakfast bourbon with you too. Today, I'm not going into work right away today, or maybe at all. Just trying to take an extra day because I haven't had a day off in a while. Today would have been the day to have the bourbon or scotch live on the air. Could have put it in my coffee or something. Like, actually, can you put bourbon in your coffee? Maybe a little Sambuca, but I don't actually have any of that. Remember when the NBA tried their who's Batman and who's Robin franchise sabotage tactics? And Beeb showed early on that it's about team and winning. Ben, not so much. And Ben Simmons, the star of the Brooklyn Nets, has already missed 2 games in a row with an injury. Poor Benny boy can't stay healthy. Hate to see it. Yeah. I don't wish injury on anybody. I'm just kidding, guys. Linville Joseph came right in like he ran the team. Rave reviews. Your older guys still have flashes. Yeah, and that's the thing with Robbie and Byard. What they bring isn't necessarily just on the field. It's the leadership. Oh, we're talking Sixers. Uh, we're definitely talking Sixers. We're 100% talking Sixers. But you know how it gets, Marshawn. The comments they start they get a little upset, certain people, when we're not talking about the Eagles. But we are definitely covering the Sixers today. We started off the show. We've spent much, much more time talking Sixers than anything else because it was a damn good game. And Marshawn, I want your thoughts, Marshawn, on last night's game. Ben wasn't even Robin, he was Alfred. I was a huge Ben Simmons fan. I won't lie. I was spot on wrong on Ben Simmons right from the get go, if that makes sense. There was a point like 2 years ago I would have traded Embiid before Ben Simmons. Well, not 2 years, maybe a little longer than that. I love. It broke my heart to be so wrong. But for as wrong as I was on Ben Simmons, I was so right on Jalen Hurts from day one. So um, it's possible, man, Chatter. It's very possible. Robert Quinn faked us good. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that one did. But Joseph and Sue were major, additions for us. Poor Benson Wentz. What's Benson? I don't get the Benson part there. But yes, unless you just misspelled Carson with a Benson there. Um, well, we brought in Robert Quinn, and he barely he stunk pretty much. Eagles sign a tight end, and who? Probably not, Joe. Uh, that's why they brought in Alberto. And that's what that's why they kept Grant Calcaterra. Um, the funny thing is we always say how bad the win loss record is when All Pro right tackle Lane Johnson goes down. But last year when All Pro tight end Dallas Scott, well, could be All Pro tight end Dallas Goddard went down. Guess what? We went 5-0 last year in the 5 games he missed. So the Eagles just won't see it necessary. Those red zone targets could go to Julio Jones. You'll see a lot of Jack Stahl. You'll see a lot of Alberto, and they'll just go with what they got at this point. I'd be more concerned with them finding a linebacker than a tight end right now. I am into the Sixers too here. Yeah, we're keeping it open. Hell, I got notes on the Phillies here with Reese Hoskins and Aaron Nola and Bryce Harper. If anybody wants to talk about our fighting Phils, there are notes here just in case. I will say this about the Eagles. It's been 3 days, and the national media is still talking about the Cowboys' moral victory and how bad our secondary was in the last 2 weeks. And if you want to talk Sixers, Marshawn, I bet you the national media will spend today talking about how Boston now knows what they need to compete in the East instead of the Sixers and how they just beat Boston. It's always the wrong side in what the national media talks about. Exactly. It's a bye week. Let the Eagles rest. We could, I do have football. Like I said, I got Shane Half coming on tomorrow. We'll definitely talk, and I got some interesting ideas. And I do want to hand out tomorrow, Football Friday, some grades of this Eagles team at the halfway point. So we will dive into that. But it's the bye week, and it's the day after the Sixers beat the damn Boston Celtics. We gotta give those Sixers 10, 9, 8, 7 Sixers. But I remember that girl that used to play the piano during COVID on social media after Sixers wins. I need her to play me the song right now. Ben plus Carson equals Benson. All right. All right. I got you now. I got it. I got it. I Dragon Balls fused Ben Simmons with Carson Wentz. Is that what it is? Dragon Ball? Yeah, I don't know my Dragon Ball Z stuff. I really don't. That is not my specialty. Did Ben Carson have the 999 plan? I wouldn't be surprised if Julio Jones' production ups with Dallas on the men. It's what I've been saying since the second he went down. First and foremost, I said it before he went down, that if Julio Jones has anything left in the tank, they need to be targeting him in the red zone because of his size and his strength. But all the routes off the line of scrimmage that Dallas Goedert runs, and Dallas Goedert runs a lot of routes off the line of scrimmage, can now go to Julio Jones. You can have a unofficial two tight end set, Jack Stoll on the line, and Julio Jones in the slot, and you're perfectly fine. All those routes that Dallas Goedert runs, right to Julio. It's not like Dallas Goedert was running these routes to get major separation, so you don't have to worry about Julio losing a step. If Julio could get covered by a linebacker, if Jalen Hurts can find a mismatch and get Julio Jones against the linebacker or a safety, it's a win-win situation. This is the moment for Julio Jones here. I don't think he played TMC. Last night he didn't. National media just likes the Cowboys. They just like the clicks because of the Cowboys. Ben Simmons and Carson Wentz are different situations. Ben Simmons caused problems. Wentz was mostly quiet about it. Ben Simmons, they were different too because Ben Simmons' problems were because, let me say, Carson Wentz's problems came. I think a lot of Carson Wentz's problems came from the injuries. He got happy feet. He started to doubt himself. Yes, there's obviously problems that we're finding out about later down the line from the Super Bowl year. But I think Wentz, partially the injuries and the head hits, caught up with him. Ben Simmons didn't have problems injury-wise at first when he was causing problems. He just wanted to be the man. He wanted full control. He never had somebody tell him no. And then he got put in a check. He got put in check mode, and he didn't like having his ego checked at the door. So there's a big difference there between Ben and Carson, but they both were high hyped and both found this city. Dallas and Maddox, those two best friends, been sitting on the couch watching back-to-back years. It sucks. They're valuable pieces. It is, Travis. It's a shame. And I tried to tell you guys so many times in the offseason about how, Dallas Goedert, we needed a better option at backup tight end and slot corner because of Maddox, because these guys are always injured. And they're always in the tub and not on the field. And it's a shame. But we'll see. We'll see next offseason how they handle it being again, because this is now the third time in the last 4 years that Dallas Goedert will miss significant time. 12 games he missed coming into this year over the last 3 years, 5, 2, and 5 the last 3 years, and he's going to miss 4 or 5 this year as well. So that's going to put him somewhere in the neighborhood of 16 or 17 missed games in a 4-year stretch, and that's not good. National media does not hate us, I don't think, Duck. National media knows that we think they hate them, and they know what's going to fire us up. And every time we quote tweet, every time we repost, everything we share and comment and like, and every time we talk about it, it's helping those sites' algorithms go up through the roof. That's all it is. It's all about the bottom dollar. And the media knows the more pissed off Philly fans are, the more we're going to voice our opinions. And the more we voice our opinions, the more money they're going to make. It's pretty simple. It's basic, really. Thank you, Martian. You're definitely core 12. That's right. We have ESPN Creative Hive Minds, baby. The bong of trending in the AM. That's right. I like it. Our boy Shane Half, he is the man. Yeah, Shane will be on tomorrow. I think we were messaging about 8:45. He'll be on for about a half hour tomorrow. Um, love Shane Half. It's been a while since I've had Shane Half. Shane Half's got to rank in my top 3 or 5 most most guest appearances on trending in the AM. Has to be Shane Half. Last year, I think he was on like twice a month, every month for the entire football season. So I love me some Shane Half, and the work he does breaking down film, it's great. I wish I had that skill set. The national media says the Sixers are still the same since they let up a 15-point lead in the last 3 minutes. But see, the thing is, Marshawn, and I think that's so key. Yes, we gave up a lead in the last 2 minutes of the game, whatever it was last night. But guess what? We found a way to win last night. Last year's Sixers team under Doc Rivers with James Harden on the floor loses that game to Boston last night. There is no doubt in my mind we lose that game with Doc Rivers and James Harden here. But now with Nick Nurse, there's a different thing, different feeling, different everything. It's not acceptable to lose that game last night under Nick Nurse. So I think that's what should be talked about. Should DeAnthony Melton start? That's a tough one. I like DeAnthony Melton off the bench, but he's also one of the better defenders on the team, and you need wing defenders and long, lanky guys like him on the floor. I think Oubre's the guy out of the starting lineup right now that needs to go to the bench eventually. I know he's playing really well in the starting role, but I'd probably have him coming off the bench and start Batum in that 3 spot, or have Tobias him, kind of piggyback 3 and 4 based off of matchups. I think that's where I'm going. Um, I don't like Melton and Maxey in the backcourt together. Maxey's getting better at the point guard. Melton is not a great ball handler for a guard, but he has to have the ball in his hand a lot when he's out there. So I don't know. Um, I'm leaving Melton in the starting lineup because if you move him to the bench, he doesn't provide enough of a scoring punch off the bench, whether he starts or off the bench. So I don't know. It would have to depend on the rotation and how you do it if you benched him. But I'm moving Kelly Oubre back to the bench at some point in the near future, in my opinion. We always knew Goddard and Maddox would get hurt. We just didn't know it would be so soon and for how long. Yeah, Maddox is gone for the year, which is the worst part about it all. Thank you, my liege. Um, I would think Ben would dislike the Benson joke. Yeah, maybe. I didn't realize how big Julio was until he stood beside AJ and Smitty. He makes both those guys look small. Julio Jones is a beast, man. We think AJ Brown is this beast, this monster, this mammoth of a human. Well, Julio's a pretty big boy. I think we're overlooking the secret weapon that is Aqua Bowman. Aqua Bowman is the secret weapon, maybe, or maybe he isn't going to. It depends how many snaps he sees this week, how much what the Eagles really think of him. And if you don't see him next week on the field much, because he's not going to see the field this week at all. If we don't see him on the field next week much, then we know that it was a wasted decision there. Wentz wasn't quiet about it in the locker room. He was the little ginger kid from Problem Child. Maybe. Um, I forgot about the whole Darren Sproles thing from last year. Then with the Rob Motti post yesterday, it all started, or 2 days ago, it started coming out again. Um, just the fact that he wasn't happy that he wasn't the one winning the Super Bowl and Nick Foles was. Uh, it's always left a bad taste in my mouth about Carson, and I was a huge Carson fan, huge supporter of his. Um, and he's a better quarterback than like, the fact that he's not playing quarterback right now. Well, he signed this week. That he's been out of football all year with some of the quarterback play out there. It just goes to show what his reputation around the league has become. The fact that he was 27-7, touchdown to interception in Indy and got cut, missing the playoffs by a half a game that year, just goes to show the fact that Washington, that train wreck of an organization, decided to bench him. It's unfortunate. It really is. Great point. Yes, he always makes great points. I don't think Carson was quiet about it. Just as Sproles, he was quiet, but him being quiet said a lot. He could have won that locker room by being excited for everybody, but he wasn't. Nick Nurse knows how to use length and defense, which is crazy because he came in the league as an offensive mind, much like D'Antoni. I didn't know that about him, that he was more offensive minded. I just thought he was this defensive and culture guy. And the more I think about it, like we're watching the game last night. My wife came into the room. It's like, oh, who's the coach? Who is the new coach? Where did he come from? And why isn't he in Toronto anymore? And I asked myself that. I'm like, why did Toronto let Nick Nurse go? Like, really? Like, he won them a title just a few years ago. He's kept them in the playoffs a lot, but yet they let him go. Uh, Toronto made a huge mistake moving on from Nick Nurse for some reason. Yeah, I know I'm right. I'm always right. Come on now. When am I not right? I can't wait to shut Skip Bayless' mouth up for the next 4 games. Yeah. You know what's crazy? I'll get to catch up in a second here. I got Skip Bayless I unfollowed him a long time ago. I got him on mute, yet he still shows up on my timeline nonstop because everybody else keeps sharing his stuff out. I hate it. Edge of Philly did a great job with the post game. They always do. They do. They got such a team, such a huge YouTube presence at Edge of Philly. And I always watch them too when I'm not doing my own shows. Ben Simmons wanted to be the same player for his career without adding wrinkles to his game, and he's getting his wish now in Brooklyn. He's scoring 4 points a game, 3 points a game, taking one shot here or there. It's pathetic. What is up, Mitchie Pooh? I agree with the second part of this. Sixers should not trade for anyone. I am 1000% content with this team as is. Now, when we get closer to the trade deadline, we'll see what happens. But let me tell you something. I'm content with this core and rolling it with it for the next few months to figure out what we have. The old Sixers would have lost this game, man. I am so far behind on comments. I made that comment like 10 minutes ago. I got to fire through these to get caught up here. Jalen focused or forced that 3, and it was a terrible night. Yes, exactly. With Doc and James, we lose that game absolutely, without a doubt. Send Melton to the Blazers for Brogdon, perhaps, but I don't know. I'm not making any moves for at least another 30 games, 20, 30 games. If the Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Cowboys, Seahawks gone force up the standard, then they should just hand us the Super Bowl ring. Well, no one's going to hand it. I want to earn that shit. I do. Sorry. Eagles' biggest competition. Well, there's a poll that I ran on Twitter, Joe. And a lot of the NFL, a lot of the fans, over almost 700 votes, put the Ravens as our biggest competition. Every team that faces them, the Eagles have a huge target on their backs. We will see the best from everyone. With great success comes great pressure like that. I tried to put a Spider-Man quote on the fly there. It did not work out. Is that Nick, Shady, and Macklin poster on your wall behind you? They're. Oh, I know Macklin is one of them. Yeah, that is accurate. There's some fat heads that I found on the discount rack in an Ollie's a few years ago. I got them well past their time in Philly. But yeah, that's who's up there. I like it. Good eyes there, Edge of Philly. I love the work, Phil. Thank you very much. I appreciate this. Yeah, I would love to come. I've never done a show in a studio before, and I love your studio. It's down in my old stomping grounds, man. I would love to come out, but I appreciate it, man. We got to make that work. Hit me up, my man. Uh, Doc Popovich Rivers would have the first coach to get himself ejected for turning heel on his own team for what he deemed excessive ball movement. The ball goes to Embiid and James. What's wrong with you? Oh man, it's just night and day. And I promised myself I wouldn't get sucked into the Sixers right away. And I promised I wouldn't overreact to last night's game. But man, the night and day difference between last year and this year, it's just insane. And look, it's no secret that I was not a Doc Rivers supporter from day one of him coming to Philadelphia. I was not fond of the Doc Rivers or Daryl Morey hires in the beginning. But that even without that, I let myself fall for it every year. And I'm falling for it again this year. But I just feel like there's something special in the air with this team last night. You know, and I think last night was a major statement win that told the league we're not your average Sixers that are going to put up a lot of wins and come up small in the big moments. I think that's what we saw last night. When the end time comes, Skip Bayless will rise from the ashes. It is so written. Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand how a guy I have muted and I don't follow shows up on my timeline so much. Like I'm borderline ready to block the guy, so I don't see it. But then I'll just see shared comments of his with it blacked out because I blocked them. It's pathetic. I don't block just anybody. Living in Toronto, all I heard was his young players turned on him once all the veteran players were traded away. He also suspended Siakam for his attitude. Nick took shots at players in postgame. He definitely okay. So some of this I get. Him and Siakam definitely had issues. I know that. Um, and I know I don't. Did he really take shots at them, or was he just calling them out for calling a spade a spade? Hey, this player did not do well. They need to be better. But he won them a title still. You would think that would buy you more than 2 years. I don't know. I don't know. And Toronto ain't doing much without him. So you know, I, they I think they really screwed up there. Edge of Philly, all good. Yep, yep. Hey, look, Marshawn's a great supporter of a lot of great brands out there. If Marshawn's commenting on your show, then you know you're doing the things right. I'm not asking for a Siakam trade. I said it. Well, I should say back before the James Harden trade, I did make a lot of proposed trades on this show about with Toronto, but now I definitely don't want him. And as soon as Nick Nurse was hired, I said the same thing that we don't want Siakam now because he was the only player that did not congratulate Nick Nurse on his new job. This doubt has no shadow, you all. Thanks, Peanut. I appreciate that. Raven, black uniform and Eagles green uniform on the Super Bowl show. Um, Man, I look at the Super Bowl, Travis, 2 ways. Who I want in the Super Bowl. If the Eagles are in it or not, and what's best for my pizza shop. And again, my pizza shop information scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Fox's Pizza in Kennett Square, PA. Come see me there. Um, Outside of the Eagles in the Super Bowl last year, the busiest Super Bowl Sunday sales wise I ever had was when the Ravens were in the Super Bowl. That was Ravens 49ers because the Ravens are so close. Like Baltimore, I'm like dead center in between Baltimore and Philly. There's a lot of Ravens fans in Kennett Square. So an Eagles Ravens Super Bowl, oh my God, talk about how busy it would get. Oh my God. I would be so on board with that for the Eagles, but also for business. It would be fantastic. Uh no trades, allow the team to gel and grow. Absolutely, Eric. I'm not making a single move if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers right now. Now we can wait and see 20 games, 30 games, wait till January, February, whenever I think the trade deadline's what, mid-February normally. I'm waiting. I'm seeing how this team gels. I'm seeing the growth from some of these players. We haven't even seen Marcus Morris but for 2 minutes. We haven't seen KJ Martin but for a minute on the court. Batum's only played 2 games. Rocco starting to get back in the flow of things with the Sixers. I'm waiting and seeing. I'm seeing if Maxey can handle this point guard role more than just 7 games before I make any moves. I'm waiting and seeing, without a doubt. I'm not pushing the panic button. I'm not trading. And honestly, I'm just going to say it. I don't trust Daryl Morey making these moves anyway. For a black hole player, yeah, exactly. Skip will find a way. He's like, yeah, you think you got rid of it, and then you realize it's back. Um, he pays to be on your time. He must pay to be on my timeline, because he just never gets off my timeline. No matter how hard I try to keep that man off my timeline, he's like he just check. He just keeps hanging around. He's got unbridled enthusiasm. I just can't get rid of him. He said Gary Trent wasn't good enough, and that's why he wasn't playing. Imagine that they did to Glenn Rivers when he said he doesn't know if Ben is a championship point guard. Yeah, that that SF bait Super Bowl, San Francisco Baltimore Super Bowl was also a half hour longer because I remember the power outage. I remember that massively. Um, that was really weird when that happened and stuff like that. Almost like it was part of the script that was written. We should have known there were scripts when that all happened. We should have. Um, but yeah, that was a big Super Bowl for me sales wise. So Baltimore, there's 3 things. It's Eagles in the Super Bowl, Baltimore in the Super Bowl, and Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. They're the 3 things that are best for business. And that's what look, I love my Eagles. You know that. But if it's not Eagles, it's what's best for business for me. And that is what's best for business for me. Uh, We need that Fox's Pizza logo in the top left of the screen. It scrolls. Liam don't care. I put my picture up here all the time. Fox's Pizza, Kennett Square. Yeah, absolutely. If I don't got no sponsor to pay me, I might as well sponsor myself and just maybe gain a customer or two. Maybe you never know. What is the secret ingredient in your pizza sauce? Crack. It keeps you coming back for more. Um, no, we make a very good. It's a very sweet sauce. I like sweet flavored sauces. Um, there's no secret about it. I just prefer a sweeter sauce. Great cheese, a great crust, um, and freshly made every day. That's what you got to do, right? And great customer service and great everything. Great pizza, great chicken wings, great cheesesteaks. We make everything. We try to be a little different on everything too. So that's what's special. Uh, love how Phil is purging shadow of a doubt from it. I'm not saying it unless you force me to. It's like using the word. I've worked damn hard not to say 300 times a show. Well, I'm working damn hard not to say shadow of a doubt anymore. Just saying. Just saying. The power outage, that was a mafia move. Somebody was trying to do something to sway the momentum of that game. I don't remember what jokes I was making at that moment, but I remember back then making jokes about it to people that was something to do with a gambling bet. It was something to do to sway the momentum. I don't know. But now with all the script jokes and the NFL scripted kind of conversation over the last year or so, now I'm thinking it was part of the script. For sure. The script. Eagles win it all. Man, I really need the Eagles to win another Super Bowl really, really bad. I really do. And there's something, all we ever hear about from the Cowboys fans is, well, we won all these Super Bowls, blah, blah, blah. And we always remind them that your last one was 25, 30 years ago. Now, when we tell people, well, we've got a Super Bowl, and still they just say, well, you've only got one. That's what my brother, who's a 49ers fan, says all the time. We only got one. You might have the recent one, but not one or more than one. I just think that second Super Bowl. I think when you go into the argument and people say, look at all our trophies, you could say at least that we have two, and two in like a 6-year span at that. I think that would be so much more helpful in our argument with those idiot fans that are out there. It's New Orleans. What you gonna do? What's New Orleans? What you gonna do? Um, Obviously, the liquid crack, how no, as MSG. It's yeah, no, I don't put any MSG in anything. Um, MSG, I don't even get MSG. Like for the longest time, I didn't even know there's actually you can go buy jars of it to add. Like I didn't even know what it was. Like I knew what it was, but I did. I dated a girl once back in college that was allergic to MSG, and every single thing we would buy at the food store, we would have to check the packaging for the letters MSG on it and all. So it's a pain in the ass. When you get a chance, you should listen to the clip of KG and Paul Pierce talk about Poole and Green. Players change after winning titles, especially second unit. Sorry, forgot to press send. Um, yeah, so you're talking about when the Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole last year in training camp, dude. I know Draymond Green's a big part of the Golden State history there, but I would have suspended or kicked him off my team for that. I don't care how important he is. You don't punch a teammate, and you go figure. Poole got a huge contract extension immediately after that, kind of like a shut up. Here's some money, and let's just continue to roll. And I stand by that for sure. Um, I'm traveling to Chesapeake. Yeah, I mean, I might not be there today. My wife said I could take a day off. I haven't had a day off in a while, so I'm not even in a rush to get off the show right at 9:30 today. But you definitely got to come out. We got to do an Edge of Philly trending in the AM dual show from the pizza shop one day. I don't have the equipment really. I got very little equipment here. Bring some of your traveling equipment. We'll do a mixed show one afternoon or one evening from the pizza shop. I think that's something we should do for sure. The San Francisco Baltimore Super Bowl was in New Orleans. Okay, gotcha. Mafia capital of the South. I kind of lost track of the conversation there and what you were talking about there. It was in New Orleans, um, for sure. That's right. That's right. If you let KG and Pierce tell it, you would think they had a dynasty. Um, who had a dynasty? Who had a dynasty? The Golden State did. Or are you talking about Boston had a dynasty? Yeah, they kind of did too. Um, Pizza playoff party at your spot. Invite the core and make some money. Yeah, I ain't giving the core 12. Yeah. If the core 12 shows up to the pizza shop, I'll give you a 12% discount. That's my max. But you're going to pay for your pizza damn straight. Um, I got the equipment, Peanut. Look, you've done live shows. That's right. I forgot. But you're like 3 hours away. 300 hours away. MSG is naturally in the every good Chinese or cheese and mushroom you have. It's what give it that umami, earthy flavor. It's like bay leaves. You leave it out, you know it. That's some great MSG knowledge right there from you, Duck. Some quality MSG knowledge. Um, I just, I'm not a huge Chinese food eater. There's too many vegetables I don't like that Chinese food puts in, especially broccoli. Far too many of their dishes. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. The Eagles are one of the original teams to start the NFL. I don't think they're one of the original, but they're one of the earlier teams for sure. The Phillies are one of the original 8 baseball teams. I know that. It's a shame that expansion teams like the Ravens and Chiefs have more Super Bowl trophies. That needs to change. Well, the Eagles can do that. And we're kind of vegetating off of the Sixers a little bit here. And obviously the Nakobe Dean news broke yesterday that he's got a Liz Frank injury. That's what he left the game with. That's why he's hurt. And as we know, Liz Frank, especially if he goes for surgery, which he's seeking second opinions on to get back sooner, he's definitely going on short-term IR for the second time, which means he'll miss 4 weeks. But on top of that, if he opts for surgery, he's done for the year. And it's just going to bring up so many questions about whether Nakobe Dean can stay healthy in an NFL season. It's only been 2 years in his NFL career, and he's gotten hurt how many times already? That was his MO coming out of college. We have a serious question to make as an Eagles organization going forward. This year, obviously, Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham, the last time Nakobe Dean went out, they played well as a duo. And they've slacked off a little bit or lacked off a little bit once Nakobe Dean came back and got back in that rotation. So, we've got a serious question what to do with Nakobe Dean the rest of this year. But we will also have a question going in. We can't go into next year with Nakobe Dean, the guy, and no depth behind him. Nakobe Dean will go into next year competing for a role, probably. It's a serious situation there. And now with him down again, the lack of linebacker depth is going to show again. The way KG and Pierce talk about their experience, you would think they had a ton of success. They lost a 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah, they won a title, and then they lost twice in the NFC or the East. They lost. Did they only get to the finals twice and win one, or did they get there 3 times and win one? I forget. Maybe the third time they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what I'm thinking of. The Super Bowls might be a little rigged. The Super Bowls aren't rigged. Stop. There's no script. I hate that. I really do. What is up, reality check? Good morning. Salute. Do you use canned pineapple, freshly cut pineapple on your pizza? I do canned pineapple in its own natural juices, Dole pineapple. Never thought about cutting it up fresh. I hate HC. I hate pineapple. I hate pineapple on pizza. I hate pineapple flavored anything. But I live in Kennett Square. My shop's in Kennett Square, which about 50% of my customers are from Mexico, work in the mushroom farms, and I sell lots and lots of Hawaiian pizzas. So while I hate it, I'll do it nonstop because it makes me a ton of money. And a gourmet pizza, whether you get a deluxe which has 5 toppings or Hawaiian that just has ham and pineapple, charge the same price. So I make a lot more money on a Hawaiian pizza than a meat supreme pizza. So I'll sell it and I'll make the money however I can, whenever I can. It just grosses me out when I gotta grab it out of its juices and squeeze all that pineapple juice out. Oh, it grosses me out, man. And the smell of it grosses me out. The tolls to get to your pizza shop is more than the 12% discount. I'll validate your parking pass. Okay, that's the best I can do. It's free parking in my shopping center. Yeah, gonna have to do better than 12%. Look, at least you guys could drive. Some of the core 12 would have to fly here. I'm not reimbursing their plane tickets. So come on now. Well, I might get 24% off being a Phil's fave and all. Eric, you have a long way. What'd you say? You're in Chicago? Like you might get more than two. Maybe I'll go up to 14% for you because you got to catch a plane to get here. Um, we have been disrespectful. um, those that have been with me before PSN, those that have been with me, the core 6, maybe I'll call you, that were with me at DSM, or the core 1 or 2 that were with me at AAT Birds when I got started, they'll get 16%. That's what we'll do. We were like the 30th team in the NFL, but the Eagles owner was the one that came up with the NFL draft because he felt people just picking teams was not fair. The big guy in the sky is letting Nick know that Morrow's job. He don't play favorites. Look, Nicholas Morrow is the guy, and I'm confident in the Eagles team losing Nakobe Dean because what we've seen from Nakobe Dean so far this year hasn't been great when he's out there. It's been okay, just okay. But I just hope that if Nakobe Dean does not miss the rest of the year, if he comes back, if he only goes on short term IR, and Nicholas Morrow plays well in his absence, that the Eagles don't just go back to Nakobe Dean because of the name recognition, because of the previous pedigree. Nicholas Morrow earned the right to stay out there when Nakobe Dean came back. They went right back to Nakobe Dean, and you saw the results. So I want to see Nick, and we'll see about Nakobe Dean or Nicholas Morrow and Zach Cunningham going up against Travis Kelsey in 2 weeks. That's going to be a huge test for them, for sure. Yeah, 12%. Where did they do that? Yeah, exactly. I hate crack, but if I lived crack, I said no comment, no comment, Peanut. No comment at all. I want Nakobe Dean for his performance and leadership. And Morrow and Cunningham are hired hands. They won't re-sign here. Dean is homegrown with a Georgia Bulldog connection. I get all that, but you can't go into next season because Morrow and Cunningham are 1-year deals. Like maybe you bring them back, maybe you don't. Cunningham's getting older anyway, but you can't go into next season assuming that Kobe Dean's your starting guy again. He could be one of the guys that are like Morrow and Ellis were fighting for that job before Cunningham and Miles Jack got brought in here. You got to bring in a lot of guys and let Nakobe Dean fight for it. And if Nakobe Dean misses all of training camp last year like he did this year, he doesn't just automatically get thrown out there. I'm not sure what to do with Nakobe Dean at this point. You get 13 because you're the 13th member of the core 12. If you show up and you're the real Will Smith, you get free pizza. I just get a picture and you tagging, Fox's Pizza in every post you make. If you're the real Will Smith, you know, West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playgrounds where I spend most of my days. We need an expansion of the core 12. We already talked about expanding it to the core 13, but the core 12 just has a cool ring to it. The core 12 does not mean there has to be only 12 people in the core 12. The core 12 is just the nickname I gave everybody. I'm going to make a logo, the Trending in the AM logo, hashtag core 12 across the top of it. I'm going to make that up today, and I'm going to put it out there for sale, and we'll see how many people buy it. Nobody will understand it other than the core 12. I'm starting to see why Dean was a third round steal, I think, wasn't it? But yeah, I get the point. I question why he was a first round graded talent. There were people that had him going in like the 18th to 22nd pick of the overall in the draft, and he just kept falling. And I remember when the second round came, and we are like, nope, passing over him again. Like he just kept falling and falling. I'm like, what is up with this? And we got him like that's a steal. But then you talk about the injuries, and we see what's going on there. You miss big time in consecutive seasons. I trade you. Just a heads up. I'm in. I got the equipment. You got the pizza. That's right. An edge of Philly trending in the AM, in the PM at the pizza shop. I think needs to happen. Fam, I live in Toronto, and I was a day one court. Marshawn's a day one. Marshawn, you come from Toronto. I'll buy your first pizza for you because you have been there since day one. You are one of the OGs for me. Always supporting me, and I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. But I greatly appreciate those that have been here since day one, because it's not been a new journey. This has been it was February, or it was it was February of 2020 when I started writing. It was April of 2020 when I did my first podcast. So it's been a long journey. We didn't always do daily stuff, but man, um, it's it's been a long journey here doing this. Yeah, you're the Fresh Prince, duh. Yeah, I wish it'd be so hilarious. It would be so great if Will Smith really was the real Will Smith, and we just didn't realize. And he could even say he is, and we don't believe him. We'd be shocked if that actually was true. The core 50 need to show up with Phil cheap. Yeah, hey, well, there's obviously no core 50 because now we are at 9 a.m. We're an hour into this show. You're watching Trending in the AM here on Philadelphia Sports Network. There's only 14 likes on YouTube, only 5 on Facebook. That means there ain't no core 12. That the core 12 is disappointing me. That like button needs to be hit. That share button needs to be hit. That subscribe button needs to be hit by all. Please and thank you. It helps. It goes a long way. People don't realize how much those likes and shares actually mean for me. Just so you guys know. So hit those like buttons. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere at Bearded Knowledge. Shoot me a follow as well. And right back to the comments. We continue to go here as we reset here at the 9 o'clock hour, final 30 minutes. And I say that, and I normally get at least 1 or 2 likes immediately when saying that, and we're still stuck on those 14 likes. What's up with that? What's up with that? Nakobe Dean is going to be here for the duration of his rookie contract. He does look awkwardly fat and slow when he's out there. Yeah, he'll be out. He'll be here for his duration of his rookie contract. It does not mean that he deserves a starting role immediately when he comes back this year or next year. Phil ain't playing. You're going to have to send a $500 super chat with that screenshot. That's right. That's right. That's right. Dean got injured twice this year, and there's still half a season left. I mean, I think that sums it all up right there. Dean has. We're literally 9 weeks into the season. He's on IR for the second time already, and actually, he got injured 3 times, Marshawn, because he missed most of the training camp hurt as well. Just saying. He doesn't look slow. He just looks lost at times. Yeah, I don't know if it's slow. I don't know if it's lost. I don't know if it's undersized. I just think that he might turn into one of those great college players that's just not good in the pros. Plain and simple. You can take a picture with me and put it on your wall. I'm famous too. Most people just don't know it yet. Yeah, I'm famous. I know people. Something like that. Okay, I give you that, K1, but my guy looks completely lost. Yeah, he just doesn't look prepared. He just doesn't look like an NFL linebacker right now. He needs to stay healthy, and it doesn't seem capable, which is a big problem. Yeah, look, I just hope they don't go back to him when he comes back. You could give him some time. You could give him opportunities, but you can't give him the opportunity. Phil, you have me crying at 9 a.m. Thanks, my guy. I have never been to Philly, but when I do, I go. I'm definitely hitting up that pizza shop, man. I appreciate it. Look, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. You know that. I can't say that enough. Hard reset. I don't even know why I do that. I pretend like I'm actually on the radio here or something like that. And they always reset at the top of the hour for their sponsors and stuff. But I got no sponsors other than myself. So I'm just going to keep putting my sponsorship up on the screen. Why not? I'm going to make a Fox's Pizza commercial and make you guys watch it every show. I know how we could tell if there's a real Will Smith. So how you feel about? Oh man, uh, it is the beard that binds us. Yes, the beard brings us all together. Dean looks fat and slow because it's hard to practice and exercise with foot injuries. Yeah, pretty much. He has a foot allergy. He doesn't have a foot fetish. We know that though, right? Like me. We don't know if he does or not. If you're not the real Will Smith, you have to change your name to Bill or Williard or Willie. My brother used to hate being called Willie, as a nickname. So yeah, we could say that as well. You got to play the best players, and let's be honest, Dean is not one of those players. Yeah, Peanut, I mean, you're spot on. He's not one of the best players. I said it when he came back off of IR earlier this year that I wasn't sure whether he should be put right back out there because Morrow was playing. I mean, Morrow had a game where he was NFL defense or NFC Defensive Player of the Week, and then 2 weeks later he was back on the bench for Nakobe Dean because Nakobe Dean was the guy, and that I just don't get. You want to slowly work them in here or there in certain sets, that's fine. You want to put them back on special teams, that's fine. But you had a guy in Nicholas Morrow that won NFC Defensive Player of the Week that got bumped back to the secondary role because Nakobe Dean is the Georgia Bulldog guy. To me, that is bogus. I really think that was bogus that they did. Phil, get on there on them feet. I'm not getting up on my feet, that's for sure. Phil, Def has a foot allergy. Dude, stop with the feet stuff, guys. You're making me squirm in my seat here. Like, I don't squirm. I'm squirming because you're just talking about them. I'd rather talk about MSG in my food than feet, guys. I know it says, you guys can change it. I don't care if you put a $10 super chat in there. I'm not changing the topic back to feet. Unless we're talking about a Nakobe Dean foot injury. And that's it. Damn, you guys. I'm squirmy right now. I am. Guys, I'm gonna make you guys talk baseball. If you guys keep talking feet, I'm gonna talk baseball. The Phillies told Rhys Hoskins yesterday that Bryce Harper is going to be the first baseman going forward, and I think it's a fantastic move for the Phillies to lock Bryce Harper up at first base for the rest of his time here in Philadelphia. It's an unfortunate thing that means Rhys Hoskins has to move on, but Bryce Harper, the first baseman, is greater than Rhys Hoskins, the first baseman, and it gives them the opportunity to figure out the outfield in a much deeper outfield class of free agents wise than first baseman, free agency wise. Rhys Hoskins will land on his feet. Someone will give him a contract and a chance to play. It doesn't rule out Rhys Hoskins coming back. I would love to see the Phillies find a way to trade Kyle Schwarber and bring Rhys Hoskins back as the DH. That would be something that would be exciting to me. But that's about it. I just thought I'd throw some baseball knowledge in there just to get us off of the feet topic. But here we go. Pickled or boiled pig's feet. How about none of the above? TJ Edwards was our best coverage linebacker last year, and he was ranked really highly. And he was good last year. I personally think he tailed off as the season went along last year, Marshawn. And I mean, he's playing okay. I mean, Chicago's no special team or anything like that. If you want to pay attention to TJ Edwards, I mean, the Bears play on Thursday night football tonight. Who cares? Against the Panthers. Is there a worse Thursday night football game than the 1 and whatever Panthers versus the 2 and whatever Bears? The story of the kid that's their quarterback that's taken over, Division II kid, rookie. I don't even know how to say his name, Bajan or Barjan or I don't know, whatever his name is. It's a great story, but who cares? I mean, is there a more boring Thursday night football game than what we have on the docket tonight? Like, I'm not even going to watch it. Well, I don't normally watch it anyway. Like, I have no intentions to. Tonight's the night where, oh, wife, you want to watch something on TV? Here's the remote. You can pick. If you wasn't happy with my Sixers choice last night, you can pick tonight. Don't resist it. No, get off the feet. Get off the feet. Pig's feet are really good, actually. I may have actually had one, I don't know, maybe not. I'm not sure. If I did, they didn't really do anything for me. So I don't know. Chitlins, I don't even know. Poor Phil is very squirmy. Guys, why does my stress, excitement, why does upsetting me get you guys so happy? I'm here pouring my heart out every morning to you guys. You guys are enjoying my squirminess. I'm a little heartbroken from the Core 12. I really am. Phil prefers the metric system because they don't use feet. Oh my god, that might be the comment of the day right there. I'm actually crying a little bit on this one. My eyes are tearing up on this one a little bit. Wow, that right there. Yes, I actually have to screenshot that comment just so I don't forget it. Because that's going on the wall. We'll just say that comment is going on the refrigerator wall later today for sure. So thank you for that. That had to be one of the best of all time. Casty for Juan Soto. Who says no? Me. I like Castellanos. I'm not moving Castellanos. I'm moving. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I'm moving Kyle Schwarber. That way we don't have to argue about him being a leadoff hitter anymore. But also his contract for what he does. Would you rather Rhys Hoskins on a 1-year, $12 million deal as your DH, who can also back up Bryce Harper at first occasionally, or Kyle Schwarber making what's he make, $25 million a year for the next 2 years, playing DH and not anything else? I would kind of sort of semi prefer Rhys Hoskins if you can find it. I don't know how you trade Kyle Schwarber and where he goes, but but maybe there's a market for him. It's something I would be investigating if I was Dave Dombrowski. I like how Phil got Mrs. Stiefel walk into the man cave in middle of Sixers game and hit him with the hard hitting questions. I don't have a man cave. I don't. There's no TV in my office here. I am not allowed a man cave. I can have a family cave if I want, but I have to watch it. We have to stay a family. I'm not allowed to have a private space for nothing else. Sorry. I was told no. I don't think they can sell Schwarber with that contract for a DH. Yeah, I don't think they can, but as part of the fact, like I was thinking back, like Duck, like this is going way back into my main brain, so I don't remember all the details. But when the baseball trade deadline was coming up, and maybe Otani was on the market, and I thought maybe you can include him in a package for Otani because then the Angels would have needed somebody to hit home runs and DH for them. So I thought that. Like, there's got to be a package out there. If you make a trade for a big player and they're losing a bat in their lineup, maybe that's where they do. Or somebody that loses out on Peterson or some of these, or Bellinger, whoever the big free agents are right now. If they lose out on them, maybe somebody would take him to be that pop in their lineup. Maybe. I don't know. Arizona versus the Bears? I thought it was Carolina versus the Bears. Now, I could be wrong, but whatever. Um, That's a worse lineup for Thursday. Oh, you're saying if that was the lineup for Thursday Night Football? Yeah, maybe. The quarterback from Shepherd named Baguette. Is he a baguette? Is he like a piece of bread? Kayvon is a smart guy. He's a funny guy sometimes. Funny like a clown. Funny. You amuse me. Um, it's like when you make your brother or cousin uncomfortable. It's fun. It is. Why is it funny? Why is drunk uncle funny? Because he makes you feel awkward. Um, I'm here all week. Yeah, you're except for that one time you weren't here all week. Just gonna say, okay, well, there was that one time. When you squirm, we squirm. Our core 12 umbilical cord is connected. Oh man, you guys, I love you. That is a crushing question. If Nurse so good, why he here? Look, man, Chatter, I brought that up, and that's a great way to bring it back to the Sixers a little bit here in the final 15 minutes of the show. The question is, like, if Nick Nurse was so good, I know he rubbed some people the wrong way in Toronto, but did Toronto really choose just Pascal Siakam over Nick Nurse? Because he was really the one that didn't get along with Nick Nurse that was still there. The others were either younger or the others, like, they got rid of Fred VanVleet and Nick Nurse and kept Pascal Siakam. I don't know. And I don't know if OG Anunoby has a good relationship with Nick Nurse or not. That's a guy I'd be targeting if we were to make a move. But but we don't know if he gets along with him either. True, Eric. If he was to cut the beard, we would all feel it. I love it. Fun fact: in the 2000s, Phil had Iverson cornrows. I did not have cornrows like Allen Iverson. I would never be able to grow my hair long enough. First off, I did grow my hair a little longer, and I got one little braid once. We were in the Caribbean on a cruise. I had like hair like this long. I got a little tiny braid right on the top of my head. It hurt like hell because they had to really pull my hair. But no, I did not have Iverson cornrows. I'm just glad he's here. Nick Nurse for mayor. Yeah, I mean, it's refreshing to have a different, like, we've been so, you think about the last two coaches, Brett Brown and Doc Rivers, their personalities and their styles of coaching and the way they were perceived in this city compared to Nick Nurse and how in a short period of time what he's done here. And it's so early. It's 7-1 in the season. We are first place in the Eastern Conference, but it is so early. Um, but it's just refreshing to see the difference. And it's just so shocking, like, what that difference is, because we were stuck with Doc Rivers for 3 years and 5 years or 6 years of Brett Brown. Like, the last 8, 9 years to now, it's just so refreshing and quick. The quick turnaround of the culture and opinion of this team. Nurse is here because he thinks Embiid is better than Giannis. Um, I think the Sixers are better than the Bucks, even though we lost to them. I think we're right on par with the Boston Celtics. I'll tell you something. Watching that game with the Boston Celtics last night, I don't know if Boston is as good as they used to be. I think Porzingis adds a different element, but that Boston team, if you shut down their starters, they have no bench. If you get one of their starters in foul trouble, they don't have anybody to come off the bench that could beat you. The Boston Celtics are not a deep basketball team. The Sixers are deep as can be. They have a 12-man rotation, basically, maybe 13-man rotation, honestly, at this point. Only people not in the rotation really that you won't see at all most of the year except for blowout games is Mo Bamba. Actually, they ran 11 guys last night. I mean, I guess Morris and KJ Martin could be part of the rotation. House will occasionally, Springer will occasionally. Mo Bamba will only play in games really that Embiid gets a load management. The Sixers are a deeper team than the Boston Celtics. I don't know the Milwaukee Bucks at this point. And we haven't even fully, got cracked the iceberg yet on that. If Andy Reid was so good, why did we get rid of him? Because sometimes things run their course and change of scenery is needed. Yeah, but Andy Reid didn't win a title 3 years before he got fired. Andy Reid never won a title. Andy Reid had multiple bad seasons, not in a row, but he did. Nick Nurse had one bad season, and it wasn't even that bad of a season. So I get what you're trying to say, Peanut, but I think there's a little. I think it's not as closely the same as you think. Raps chose Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes had a problem with him too. I liked Scotty Barnes when he was a rookie. He's kind of leveled out a little bit. But Scotty Barnes is a good young basketball player. We should bury Phil's fetish 6 feet deep. Exactly. I don't need to talk about feet ever again. I think Nurse just coaches the type of ball the Sixers want to play now. Yeah, maybe his style meshes best with our stars. Fantastic point from Eric. Which one was his last point? He's better. Better than Embiid or Giannis. I just like we have two coaches named Nick. It's easy to remember, I guess. I thought Doc was going to change to be the game changer for the Sixers, but I was so wrong. It's okay to admit your mistakes, Doc. That's what this is a mistake-free zone. You can make mistakes and admit them freely without being criticized here. I admit my mistakes all the time. I remember doing a show 3 years ago with my man Scotty from DSM now. He had just his own private show at the time. And the topic came up, who are you moving on from, Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid? I'm like, I'm moving on from Joel Embiid. This was like before. This might have been like back when we lost, but like I was ready to choose Ben Simmons. I'll admit it. I was wrong. I said Carson Wentz was elite. I was wrong. Nick Nurse is the offspring of Larry Brown and Mike D'Antoni's brain. I like that comparison. I do. I really like that, Eric. Peanut is correct. He's correct in philosophy, but I don't think it matches up here as much as you guys think it does. Cool. You got you get a gold star for the day. Put a little gold star on your shoulder for the day. Go tell your friends you got a gold star here on Training in the AM. I remember being the last holdout saying, but Andy's the best coach we ever had. Yeah, he was until he wasn't anymore. Sometimes the grass isn't always greener, but sometimes it is. And we learned that. Andy also needed to move his family out of Philly. That's a fair point as well. There were some problems going on there, obviously. Um, Scotty Barnes had questionable work ethic and attitude towards Nick. See all the stuff I'm learning thanks to having people from Toronto commenting on the show. I do love Toronto. Toronto's a great city. I've been there before. I've got some friends that live up there. Sean, the once every 6 months you watch this show, if you're watching, I know you don't live in Toronto, but that's how I knew you when we worked together. From Toronto. Uh, Dean didn't get injured twice. He re-aggravated the injury he already had. Football is the ultimate team sport. Stats aren't as important as people think. There's so much in that one comment. So much to unpack there. But stats are important sometimes. Stats are important when they help your argument. Is that a fair statement, Mister? If they help my argument, they're important. If they don't help my argument, then you can throw them out the window. I feel like I'm at AA. I mean, I've never been to an AA meeting. More power to you if you have. But yeah, this is where you can clear whenever you want to admit that you're wrong about something. You can admit it here freely. It's a free, safe zone. I have very strict rules than Bills games. I'm subject to rage watching. Enter at your own risk. We're like that with Philly sports, man. It's rage. There's a range of emotions when you're watching your team play, without a doubt. Doc was slightly better than Brett Brown. Maybe slightly. I mean, notice Brett Brown hasn't gotten another head coaching job anywhere. There's constant head coaching jobs. You never even hear Brett Brown's name mentioned in the interview circles. I really thought he was going to take over for Popovich in San Antonio, before they were gifted Victor Wembanyama. I thought Popovich was going to say, I got to take a step away. I'm old. I'm tired. I need a break. And Brett Brown was going to fill in during their process years. But then they were gift wrapped Victor Wembanyama. So, Pop is like, nah, I'll stay. I really thought that was it. Other than that, if he doesn't take over in San Antonio, he's never going to get another chance to be a head coach again in the NBA. Last Sunday's schedule, not much 1 p.m. Then Eagles, America's game of the week, then Bills. I mean, yeah. Actually, there were I watched more football at 1 o'clock than I normally do last week. Brings up an interesting question I put out on Twitter this week. What do you do when your team is on bye week, like the Eagles are this week? Do you watch Red Zone? Do you just pick one other game and watch it? Do you, you know, catch up on your honey to do list? Like, I don't know. What do you do? Me, I kind of depends on the day. It depends on the weather. Like, I don't have plans for Sunday. I don't know what I'm going to do on Sunday with no Eagles game. I might watch football. I might not. I will be in Toronto this summer. Drinks on me, broski. You send me Peanut where you're going to Toronto, and if it's near where my buddy lives, I'll hook you up with a great guy. He'll show you around, and he'll drink a lot of beers with you, for sure. And he owns a grilled cheese food truck, and I hear it's fantastic. So, yeah, I'll hook you up with him. Andy, with this roster, would break the NFL. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, he's doing pretty good with his roster out there now. Uh, Dean's injury is the left foot this time. Okay, so it's not the same. So Edge of Philly's calling you out, saying you're wrong on this injury thing. But yeah, I get it. It doesn't matter what the injury is. It's the fact that he got hurt again and he's not out there again, and he keeps gifted all this stuff here. The opportunity to keep playing when he comes back. Andy would still throw 75% of the time. Methinks and abandon the run at NR. They still don't run the ball a lot in Kansas City. I mean, they had a great running or a great young potential running back in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They bumped him aside. They got Isaiah Panchero. I don't even think I say it right, but it sounds cool saying it that way. Panchero. I'm not very good at rolling my R's. They still don't use him. Andy Reid's a stubborn guy, but now he's got the Super Bowl titles to back it up. So I can't criticize Andy Reid anymore. I was at a few AA meetings for college psych paper on group dynamic. I stat at Temple ER for the GSW stat class. Okay, gotcha. Interesting. Be interesting to go to one of them. Phil's Philly Sports Confessional. Admit your mistake. We actually did a show. I don't know if it was once I was on Philadelphia Sports Network or when I was at DSM. I forget. It was definitely at some point in an NFL off season. I did do a show called, basically around, you know, admitting your mistakes. Um, I did, and it was so cathartic. We literally went for like an hour and 15 minutes. Everybody just saying I was wrong. I was wrong. It was so fun, and it was so enjoyable to get all the things I was wrong about off my chest. And I've been wrong a lot. How many YouTube creators, content creators, podcasters, national media people? Hell, the national media people definitely won't fit into this. How many people are willing to admit they're wrong? Me, I don't have any. I don't consider myself an expert. I just consider myself an opinionated fan with a platform to put my opinions out there. That's all I am. I have no problem admitting I was wrong, and I think it's great. We can't talk about feet anymore. Yeah, you can't. Do you have an ancillary teams you like in all sports? Of course we do. I actually am a Bills fan. To an extent. When they were going neck and neck with the Cowboys and the command or then the Redskins and the Giants in the Super Bowl back in the early '90s, I was rooting for them against the NFC East teams every year. My dad was a Dolphins fan. He spent some time in Miami when he was in the Coast Guards. So when he was there, he went to a bunch of Miami games, became a Miami fan. So, they were our secondary teams in the football. Basketball wise, I sort of do always like the Lakers because I was a Kobe fan. That Mamba mentality. Just a little bit, not a lot. Baseball wise, I went to Fenway in high school, and I thought it was such a great experience. I if it wasn't against the Phillies, I was always a Red Sox fan to an extent, just because the stadium was an awesome experience. I used to still watch the whole day, but lately it's been honey to do list. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do on Sunday. I don't know. Saturday we're going to some pickle festival in Baltimore. I don't even know what the hell a pickle festival is, but it is something. Um, Pop almost had a nervous breakdown when Duncan retired. It was like when Martin and uh, G broke up. Did they end up together at the end of that show? I actually watched that show a lot growing up. I did. Not growing up. I guess that would have been high school probably for me. Um, did they ever end up together, or did Martin end up with a Shanae across the hall? I wonder if Shanae ever. I don't remember if she ever got her wish. Uh, will you fire up the grilled cheese truck? Just neat beers. Oh, he'll bring you the beers too, Peanut. He will. It's Pachero. It's Panchero. I don't know why. You guys know I can't pronounce them, and I just make up names as I go. It's what I do. You're not good at rolling your C's either. No, I went to the in Catholic school. What do they call them? The trailers outside for speech. I definitely have a little slur too. You guys never noticed, just so you know. Um, that would be a great show at the end of each team's sports end of season. Admit your mistakes. It's what we do. It's okay. I did not understand a word you just said. Safe to say you have a minimal 20 IQ points on me. Oh man, let's catch up on comments here as we wrap up the final few minutes of the show here. Not that I'm in a rush to leave today. I don't have to go to work, but you know, the man chatter. Nah, I'm pretty stupid. You can ask my wife. Andy Reid went to my high school, Durham High. I was also a Bills fan behind my birds. Anybody that's an Eagles fan that grew up, that's at least 40 years old, 38, 40 years old, has to have a little bit of Buffalo Bills fandom in them just because of the fact that they lost to the Giants on that Scott Norwood extra or field goal. Then go the next year and lose to Washington with Mark Rippon, and then the next 2 years get smoked by Dallas. I guarantee that if there was an Eagles fan not rooting for Buffalo for those 4 years, and then in turn because they kind of got close to Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, James Lofton, Bruce Smith, I could go on and on about that team. I locked into that team. Marv Levy. How do you say? Was it Marv Levy? I think it was Marv Levy, their head coach. We all kind of latched onto that. The funniest thing was Harden turning on Maury. I could close my eyes and literally see Daryl banging his head against his office door and repeating, "Stupid, stupid, stupid, stupid." Yeah, I could see it too. Daryl Morey was on a pregame live on NBC Sports Philadelphia yesterday. It was pretty entertaining, actually, to hear him talk. He was boring, but it was definitely like I got to fix and clean up my image, so I'm going to put myself out there for a live interview for 15 minutes. But it put me to sleep because I didn't really learn a single solitary thing. My power rankings. I put my power rankings on the show yesterday, man. Chatter. I didn't do my quarterback power rankings. I didn't get around to it, but they're out there. You can find them on social media. If you follow me on all social media platforms, I put it all out there. Kyle, did you go to the freshman field trip to Boston? Because that was my time that I fell in love with the Boston Red Sox. When we went to Boston for our freshman class trip, and we went to a game. I don't even know why I remember this. Wes Chamberlain, former Philly, was the outfielder for Boston at the time, and we gave him hell out there. That's the only thing I remember. That and someone breaking into our hostel room. Um, that's all I remember from that trip. I'm still waiting for Phil's power. Oh, I already read that. Rescues him. Let's catch up. Martin would never end up with Shanae. I know. Sorry. I don't know why I remember that show so well. There's some stupid shows that I love. That was a stupid show. But Martin was a great. It was entertaining as hell. I will often put on a random person doing the game and do stuff. Just avoid NFL chat show or something. Chat sports is so annoying. Yeah, this show's really annoying. Um, Nothing is better than Phil Shanae in person. Pure go. Is it Shanae? Sorry. Is it really that good? I don't think it's that good. I haven't even said that. Today's probably the first time I've said Shanae in like 10 years. So it probably could be better if I worked on it a little bit more. I like the Lions too. We Bills fans root underdogs. That's right. Because you guys are always overhyped in Buffalo. I know watching the Bills lose 4 straight Super Bowls broke my heart. It broke my heart, man. It did. As a kid, I mean, what was the first one? What was Bills Giants? What was that like 92, 90, something like that? I mean, I wasn't even a teenager yet. It was in my preteen days. It was sad. But that's when I got started rooting for them. I made a joke that Maury practices trades on NBA 2K, and he literally said it in an interview. Did he? Did he say that? I dozed off, kind of, sort of, not really. I just tuned out during his interview. Does anybody know the show? No, we're not promoting anybody else's show on here. I've promoted enough shows today. I always promote Birds Beer and BS from Peanut. I promote Edge of Philly. I promote too much. I don't see anybody promote my show on other people's shows. But anyway, um, Never heard of it. Yeah, wide right, wide right. Laces out, right? That was a bad moment there. Without a shanang of a doubt. Yeah, exactly. You guys like that. I know you guys like that. Hey, whatever I can do to make you guys laugh. All right, we're gonna start. We're already at 9:30, and I haven't even started the wrap up process here. It's a good thing my wife said I didn't have to go into work today if they weren't busy, so I could sit here and wrap up in the final in extra overtime. We're already over 90 minutes. I'm not promoting. I'm saying it's so annoying. Yeah, I just don't know what it is, and I'm not Google searching who it is. Really more use NBA 2K for trades. Doesn't we have a team for that? Yeah, what type of GM is that? Yeah, that's why I don't want him making any of the moves. We got all these assets, all this free money, and I don't want him making the moves. But anyway, we're gonna wrap this up. Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. Guys, tomorrow, 8 a.m. we start live. We'll talk more Eagles. I'm gonna get into some grading of these positions. I was reading an article before the show from Martin Frank, a friend of this show from Delaware um, News Journal, and he had grades out for the team at the halfway point. And I want to give my grades of this team at the halfway point. So I'm going to do that. We have Shane Half joining us at 8:45 for about 30 minutes. I want to dive into something with him about the defense and about how they give up so many yards in between that second and third quarter, and they look so bad, but yet closing time at crunch time, they're so much different. And I think that's something that we don't really get enough talk about. How the defense does come up clutch when it's necessary. So we might talk about how many yards Slay and Bradbury give up, but in crunch time they make the plays. The defense, the linebackers, all of them. So we'll get into that tomorrow with Shane Half as well. Um, Maury is an ass of dumb ass, and according to James, he sit on a throne of lies. You sit on a throne of lies. Yes, I think I was off on that one there. But anyway, we're gonna wrap it up. Make sure you tune in tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the morning. Shane Half, 8:45, 9:15. We'll run through the whole NFL slate. We'll do it all. I don't have a prediction for tonight's game. Bears, Carolina. I don't even care who wins. If it ends in a tie, I care less. I will not put a bet out on the game either. That's right. It's closing time. I don't even remember the rest of the words of that song. But anyway, everybody have a great Thursday. It's going to be a nice one out there today. Um, yeah, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Go Birds. That's right. Go Birds. Go Sixers. This is trending the AM. If you're watching on replay, hit that like button. Only 16 likes on YouTube, 6 on Facebook. Likes, shares, subscribes. It's free to do it. Disappointing. I will tell you that. Disappointing day today from you guys. Court 12 didn't do their job. Just kidding with you guys. I think Bears win. Maybe. Who cares? Last call for alcohol. I'm about to crack one. Maybe. All they got to do is blitz. Bears 3, Panthers 4. Yeah, that could be the score today. And I wouldn't be shocked. That's how bad the game is. I could care less. All right, guys. Trending in the AM right here on Philadelphia Sports Network. Like, share, subscribe. See you guys tomorrow, 8 a.m. with Shane Half, Eagles halfway point grades, and whatever else comes up in the conversation. Y'all have a great day. Go Birds. Go Sixers. Deuces.